Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all having an amazing day. Today, I'm going to do something I haven't done in a very long time, and that is a manga review. So, if you guys watched my manga haul for the month of February, it'll be somewhere up here. I picked up an entire series called Die Dark. But before I start this video, if you're all interested in more manga content like this, be sure to go down, hit that subscribe button. Also, join the Discord, link is in the description. The Discord's growing, surprisingly, so if you guys want to be a part of it, join the Discord, link is in the description. I love you guys, enjoy the video. I read all 3 volumes, and I feel like this is a series I just need to talk about. One that I really think you guys should read and kind of convince you to read. With this video, I do own, like I just said, every single volume. I own volume 1, volume 2, and volume 3, and to shorten this entire video, this is a fantastic manga. Definitely one of the best mangas I've read in a while, one of the most entertaining mangas I've read in a while. There's just something so awesome and fun about this series, which I'll get to in a minute, that I just seriously fell in love with this manga. But before I talk about, all my categories, for those that don't know how I do my videos as I go, about 3 categories. I do story, characters, and art. So the first thing I want to talk about, besides the 3 categories I just listed off, I want to talk about the build quality of these volumes. These are definitely the most satisfying volumes to hold. 7 Seas, this is definitely probably the best Prince 7 Seas has ever done. These are such quality volumes. They feel so heavy and sturdy in the hands. It feels like not a volume, if you drop it, it's going to split into a million pieces. All the paper is going to fall off. It's going to, shatter into a million pieces. This is like a seriously high quality product. The paper is so thick. It's such nice paper. It's so nice to read and feel, and it's not like a chunky volume or a small volume that's hard to read. It's like the absolute perfect shape and size and feel and weight and quality to it. This is like easily like the most high quality manga I own. Obviously there aren't hardcovers, but for paperbacks, this is definitely the most quality manga I own, like, period. This is a gorgeous manga to collect. Not only is it super sturdy, the covers are really nice too. These are beautiful colors. I love like bright colors, like I always say in my collection videos or my haul videos. These covers just do it for me. They are fantastic covers. They are beautiful. Got Die Dark Volume 2 here. Now this is probably my least favorite just because it's black and green. I don't really think that they go well together. But this definitely is my favorite cover. Volume 3, the purple and yellow and red is gorgeous. This is beautiful. It's just such high quality material, and it's like definitely so worth the $17.99 Canadian I paid for it. Yeah! So for those that know Die Dark and the creator, Q Hayashida did make the legendary and very well known Dorohedoro. Now while I do think these are 2 totally separate series, I can definitely see some similarities. They are both dark fantasies. Dorohedoro having focused more on storyline and characters. In Die Dark, there's not much of a story. It really focuses a lot on the characters and just their bullshittery and their daily lives traveling the endless realm of the darkness is what they like to call it. And I think along with that, with the dark fantasy vibe that this series brings, I think it is a perfect combination. The dark humor and the dark fantasy vibe, I think, fits so well. It's something I definitely haven't seen in a manga before, at least with my experience. This is definitely something I've never read before. And the dark fantasy is fantastic. Honest to God, I didn't think I'd be laughing so hard at, people getting lit on fire, their heads getting chopped off, someone going through a black hole and just squishing and squeaming, turning into a black slob. I didn't think I'd laugh so hard at that, but it just does it. It just does it for me. It is so funny. One of my favorite characters, we'll just get to in a second, Shimada Death, just goes like, death by gun, death by explosion. It's just so funny just seeing just the bullshit ways people die in this universe. It's just a lot of fun. Along with like the awesome dark humor, the pacing for the humor, and just the manga in general is fantastic. I think it is the perfect pacing for a comedy, dark humor, dark fantasy type manga. It's not too slow. But it is pretty fast, it keeps you laughing, wants to keep you to read. So I think comedy mangas are supposed to be kind of fast paced, and I think this just does it. It's a nice mix of kind of character progression in a way with Sanko and just learning about him, and just bullshit fun. It's just fun. This manga is just a lot of fun. It's been a while since I've seen a balls to the walls manga like this that just doesn't take anything seriously. And after a pretty serious storyline of Doro Hey Doro, I guess you call it serious. I've never read it, but I've seen the anime. It was pretty good. This just takes nothing seriously. Like, I'll talk about all the characters in a minute. Don't worry. But the characters are just the perfect things. They are the most perfectly beautiful characters. They fit so well into this storyline, and Kyo Hayashida's art just fits so well with the dark fantasy vibe. I love how it can just get from super serious, this manga doesn't get super serious, but like in a serious kind of way, to them just swinging swords, chopping people heads off, them laughing their fucking ass off, lighting people on fire. Like, I don't get it, but it just does it for me. This manga just does it for me. Like I said, the story isn't really noticeable in this series, but there is kind of one, just to establish a plot and just make it so the characters are actually able to do something and go somewhere. And I gotta say, the bonus chapters are hilarious. There's like a whole chapter of just Sanko trying to go just boil his ramen. It was so funny. Just him just trying to live a normal kid's life, but then living in the universe he does, or in the kind of darkness world he does. It's not normal at all. You know, he's leaping over pits of death, trying to count down how long his ramen's gonna last before it gets super soggy. It's just so funny. That was like the first bonus chapter where I just seriously laughed my ass off. But yeah, this story is fantastic. Even though there isn't much of a story, it is still a super enjoyable story. Yeah. There are not that many characters, but they are given a lot of screen time. So we have, and I quote, the four little shits. I am not kidding when I say that this is mentioned twice in the manga. One, just to describe the characters, and two, when like the highest priest says get rid of the four little shits. I thought it was funny as hell, knowing that, you know, this series takes swearing to the next level, just calling people little shits everywhere. It is so funny. So for the four little shits, we have Shimada Death, Zaha Sanko, Hajime Damimaru, and Dark Paggy Avankion. I'll get into what's a Dark Paggy in a second. And then we have two little side characters. We have Moja, Mystinia, I don't know how to say her name, Mystinia Box. So for those that don't know what a Dark Paggy is, it's basically a life support system that usually helps space travelers, I guess, travel space. You know, it's shown multiple times that Avankion is there as kind of a life support when he's in space. It kind of acts as a spacesuit when he is in space, which is really cool. It gives a reason to why we have Dark Peggies, not just some cosmetic reason, but they actually have a purpose. But Avankion is like an actual character. He's basically Zaho's guardian. I don't think Sanko had parents or has parents, so Avankion's basically his guardian. He looks after his every move and gives him life support and life advice. It's super wholesome just seeing these two communicate, but then, you know, balls to the walls, Avankion's just as much of a child as Sanko sometimes, just letting loose, calling someone a little shit, you know, all of that. That's really funny. Beyond your disbelief, these characters are pretty young. Sanko is actually 14. It's really weird for a behavior he has at 14. What he does in his daily life is, you know, likes to eat, and then he kills people and takes their bones with his dark axe. His dark axe basically removes the skin off of the enemies he kills and leaves their bones and just leaves their bones. It's really dark, but it is really funny. It's like the first chapter we meet, he's kind of just flat out dead. He has a recovery, and then he just kills everyone and takes their bones. He just takes their bones. It's not something you expect from a 14-year-old, but that's just how he rolls, and that's just how you have to live in this universe. As much as I love these characters, we haven't really learned anything about them and their past. I don't really care. I don't really care about the past. It's in a world where past and their past lives don't really matter. The only time we get to see a young Sanko is when he meets Shimada Death, which I'll get to in a second. And yeah, there really isn't any other backstories but just behind how he met Shimada Death. Speaking of Shimada Death is a carefree living phantom that consumes death. She's some kind of organism, I guess, that just feeds off of the souls of others. It's pretty cool. She is a mysterious creature born from the world of darkness. and is known as the God of Death. If that sounds intimidating, she is anything but intimidating. When it comes to dark humor, she's definitely number one for me. She is hilarious. She takes nothing seriously, and I mean nothing. Every time she's on screen, she's kind of just like, I don't really give a shit, and I find that so funny, to the point where when she kills people, she just messes with them. I'll show some examples up on here, but it's just, her commentary is so funny. It is so hilarious. It just adds that extra little bit of spice to the manga. I think it does it so much justice and adds like 100 times the enjoyability, I don't know if that's a word, to the manga that just makes it so much more fun. And the probably most apparent reason as to why I love Shimura Death so much is she's pretty hot. She's you know, she got a pair of knockers on her, and she resembles a lot of Nikaido from Dorohedoro, if you guys don't know. Obviously it's written by the same person, so as you can tell, there are some similarities, but she is still super hot. Every time we see her, she's, you know, naked when she wakes up. If there is one funny thing I know about this, when I first met her, I thought she was a dude, and it actually says on the Annie list that because of her getup, people think she is a dude, which I found hilarious. I thought that was so funny. But underneath that costume, she is bad as hell. She is so hot. Hajime Damimaro was a character we recently just met in Volume 3, so I don't know too much about him, but I want to tell you guys about how we met him and basically how, you know, he basically joined the crew. So basically, Sanko and Hajime Death raided some Holy Light, I don't know if what that clan's called, spaceship, taking it over just there for their bones and for Shimura Death just to have a feast. And we meet this mangled up body, and we don't expect it to be anyone special until someone says Hajime Damimaro, and then we all realize, you know, who he is. He's one of the four little shits. And basically, they sell him off at first, and then his Dark Peggy is much like Avankion's. He has a soul of its own, and they basically work together. He is a normal human, which is weird because it was displayed earlier that regular humans can't survive out in this kind of environment. It was tested with the scientist. When he tried to go through a black hole, he got eviscerated and turned into a black slob. He kind of just turned into some kind of creature and passed out. And then a couple pages later, we realize he is very easily adapted to any kind of situation, even though he is a human. He has some weird power that I don't really know how to describe. He can't die, I think, is the best way to describe that. He can't die. And later on, he has a little thing with Sanko where he tries to kill him and then runs off. He then finds him again, and Sanko just chops his fucking head off. And then the next panel is him just saying, you know what? I'm sorry, man. I feel bad. How about, can we be like friends now? Is that cool? Can we be like friends now or something? That's basically the whole arc to how these guys came to be, and how I guess he's going to be part of the squad now. Now, I don't know much about him just yet. He seems pretty cool, actually. I'm very excited to see more about him and just how his powers work. He's a pretty cool character so far. I do really enjoy his presence in the manga. He is definitely the most intriguing character when it comes to mysteries and how he actually works. But he is still a very enjoyable character, and one that I'm very excited to know more about. Also, despite his looks, he's 16. He looks like he's my dad. He looks like he's 51 years old. But he's 16, which is weird. A lot of the characters here are a lot older than we seem. You know, Sanko, he looks about in his 20s. He's 14. And I don't know about Shimura Death. He's probably a couple hundred years old, I think. I can't remember how old she is. Characters are honestly the best part about this manga. And when it comes to comedy mangas, you definitely do want some good characters. And I do think this series has some fantastic characters. Yeah. Alright, last but certainly not least, we're going to talk about the art. The art in this series is by far some of the best manga art ever. I love it so much. Q Hayashida definitely has a very gritty art style, which fits so well with the dark fantasy vibe of this series. I feel like if it was any other mangaka, the dark fantasy vibe that this manga goes for wouldn't really fit with the whole art style and vibe. I think the only person who can do a series like this is Q. It's just fantastic. The art is phenomenal. when I first read the first volume, I was blown away by the wide shots and just the single paneled character panels. They're just so good. Like the first time we see Shimida Death kill someone, which isn't the last, it's such a beautiful panel. It is so nice to look at. This art just does it so much justice to the vibe and story. I think Q Hayashida is the only person in the entire world that can create a manga like this. I think after reading this series, I'm going to try and pick up Doro Hey Doro. I know the series is severely out of stock, but I'm going to see if I can pick up a bunch of volumes. But yeah, this is definitely a good introduction manga to the mangaka, and I think it's a nice step for me to get Doro Hey Doro. But yeah, the art's phenomenal. Definitely, like I said, some of the best manga art I've seen. I love the comedy also fits really well. She's really good at drawing comedy, if that makes sense. Like, not over-exaggerated, you know, extreme anime face comedy, but like comedic timing comedy, if you know what I mean. Just everything she does is just so funny. It's just timed perfectly to everything that these characters do. It's just hilarious. But yeah, there's not much I can say about the art. It's just really, really, really phenomenal. It's just so breathtaking seeing some of these panels and just realizing that people like her exist with such talent to draw such beautiful manga like this. I know there's so many other examples like that. You know, we have Yusuke Murata, Kaite Kubo, all those people have just made some phenomenal manga, but Q is so unique. You know, there are so many different shonens with like kind of the same art style, and I think Q just writes the best dark fantasy, dark humor series just out there, and it's the only manga that I know of that has a dark humor, dark fantasy vibe to it. It's just so much fun. But yeah, I'm basically done drooling about this series. If you guys have read Die Dark, let me know in the comments what you guys think about it. I definitely enjoyed it. It's definitely going to be an easy 9 out of 10 for me so far. Hopefully I can pick up Volume 4 soon when that comes out. I believe in April. If I'm correct, I'm probably very wrong. I'll put that up on screen now when it comes out. But I am very excited for that to come out, and I'm just more excited to learn more about Q and just read some more of her works. But yeah, I love you guys. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace. Take care. Love y'all.